It's lights out and away we go.
I love power. Just stay in the car for a second.
There's not much in it at the front, with the two cars constantly vying for first place. It's a thrilling battle with neither driver giving an inch.
A new era of Formula One is upon us, as the curtains on the 2022 Formula One season have now been opened. And with that, for the first time in 2 decades, we're going to have the option of playing more than one officially licensed Formula One games. One candidate is EA and Codemasters' first full collaboration, a Simcade annual experience titled F1 22, and newcomer, Frontier Development's F1 Manager. Today we're going to take a look at each, what they have to offer, and which one you should probably spend your money on. Let's get into it. I just want to make it clear that I'm not really making this video for anyone specific, but I'm just trying to inform you guys, try to give you your options, and you guys can take it with what you will. But to say that is, like, if you're a new fan to the sport, I strongly recommend that you just pick up F1 22 if you're interested in Formula One and you want to see what it's like to be a driver, to have fun, blah blah blah. But if you're an older head and you're not much into sim racing or simcade racing, and you don't want to play video games per se, even though F1 Manager is a video game, but it's more serious, it's very grounded in reality, but it's fun at the same time, and I think it'll be a great pickup. But with that being said, we're going to begin with a brief history of both the options, and we're going to start with F1 22. With the release date of F1 22 approaching reasonably quickly, it's literally right around the corner, a couple days, a lot of hype is surrounded this year's installation with new features like F1 Live, the new supercars, a new handling and tire model and all that, and of course the real star of the show, the new 2022 cars. But don't mistake this hype for undying loyalty, because in my opinion, in the previous 4 iterations, Codemasters has yet to please me with what they've put out, honestly. And to be honest, and to be frank, I don't think Cody's have fully pleased the F1 fans since they acquired the license back in 2009. But even saying that, I think the best 2 iterations have been F1 2020 and F1 2021. And yes, I know it's the last 2 iterations, nothing special, but 2020 did bring the addition of My Team, which I think is a phenomenal feature. Who doesn't want to own their own Formula One team? And F1 2021 with the addition of the Breaking Point story, which is really nice to see. Great graphics, all that. Refinements to My Team, the engine. But they did hurt themselves with the damage model, and we are going to get into that. But for now, sound off in the comments and let me know what your favorite F1 game is and why. I'd love to hear from you guys. But now, getting back to business, I really see 3 significant issues stopping Codemasters from making fantastic games. I also have one honorable mention, but we'll get into that later. But let's start with one of Cody's most critical issues, and it just has to be the lack of track details. Don't get me wrong, the fact that they can hand make these tracks and some of them look absolutely gorgeous is a marvelous achievement, but it also comes to the detriment of a lot of serious fans. Essential tracks like Spa-Francorchamps, Mexico, Canada, they all have a plethora of wrong corners, elevation changes, curbing, and much more. If Codemasters can start laser scanning a lot of these tracks and eventually the whole calendar, I think it's going to be a massive trend in the right direction. And I've heard that they laser scanned Abu Dhabi, Spain, and Melbourne for this year's game. I'm not 100% sure of how true that is. I won't speak on it, but if that's true, that's awesome. I haven't played the game myself because Cody's don't know who I am. But yeah, this trend of laser scanning tracks would be crucial to making this game better than it is. But I will, big them up for the DLC editions of Imola, Portimao, and Jeddah in F1 2021, because those tracks looks absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if they laser scanned those or they handmade them. I'm pretty sure they handmade them, but they look phenomenal and almost one-to-one with their real-life counterparts, bar some minor issues and missed details. But going on to the future, I believe EA's financial backing could probably help Codemasters beautify this game with laser scan tracks and make the fans happy. Moving into the next issue, we have the servers. Online, oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. The state of it right now with F1 2021 is really bad. I don't know what they're using for their servers, but they are awful, and they really need an upgrade for the new F1 2022 or F1 22. And I think it's embarrassing that I can go back to F1 2020, hop in an online lobby with a friend or with a random, and the servers work with minimal issue. The issue with F1 2021 goes way deeper than just simple malfunctions, like stuff from accidental server disconnects, glitched out lobbies that can't get past the formation lab, and the mother of all issues, a Codemaster headline feature being co-op career mode in the beginning of this game did not even work. How can you have a headline feature in your video game that did not even work? And they need to address this stuff going into F1 22, and I really hope they do. But again, this is stuff that financial backing from EA could help. But if we're being honest, if you've played Madden or FIFA or NHL, EA servers are no better. The final issue I see that Cody's needs to address for a better experience for the fans is an upgraded damage model. And yes, I know there's better options I could have chosen to complete this list right here, but honestly, the current damage model sucks. A couple F1 PC games from the late 90s have a better damage model than the last few installations, and that's really sad to me. But I will give Cody's props because they have made a couple steps in the right direction by adding side pod, floor, and rear wing damage. So obviously we can't see the undercarriage of the car, so I will not speak on the floor damage. But when I get damage to my side pods, all I see is a scrape, a little bit of wear, but no dents. They can't collapse or anything of the sort. And really the story gets even worse when we start talking about the rear wing, because you cannot see damage on the rear wing cosmetically. I think you might see one or two scrapes, but like the rear wing can't fall off, it can't get bent, it can't get damaged in any type of way, and all you will notice is a hit to your performance, and your car will probably tend to oversteer. And I'm not sure if this is a limitation of the engine or maybe teams that don't want to see their cars damaged, but it really sucks for the fans, and that's what I think is the most important part, making a game pleasing to the F1 massive. Remember that honorable mention we spoke about earlier? Well, here it is. I don't think I even have to talk for you to understand the magnitude of this problem. Go ahead and just take a listen. And even with all those issues, I still think F1 22 will be a great game, and I can't wait to play it. If you league race or enjoy career mode year round, I think you should pick this up too, just in case. And I think you can't go wrong with it. And like I said previously, if you're a new fan to the sport and you really want to dive head first into it, you should definitely pick this game up. But if you're still sticking around, I want to tell you about a huge announcement that caught my eye several months ago. I don't know if you've seen the various trailers, the streams that they've done, or just the announcement itself, but I've never seen a management game that looks this good. The host of features it'll have are perfect for those weekends where there's no real life racing, but I need to get in that Formula 1 mood. But the scary thing is, Frontier Developments have never really made a game like this before. So it'd be great to see what they can really bring to the table. Because these are the same guys that made games like Planet Zoo, Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle making a game of this nature, especially with motorsport being the main tie-in. And as I stated before, the last F1 management game that came out was made by EA, and it came out all the way back in 2000. It was an excellent game for the time, and it offered a lot of good features, and there's some lessons to be learned from that original game, and I hope F1 Manager is paying attention. As for the game itself, F1 Manager will have you fill the shoes of a team principal in F1. You'll have to manage budgets, hire and fire staff, manage driver personalities, and much more. Unlike Codemasters' F1 22, I have no previous titles to compare this game to, hence the best I can do is compare it to another recent manager game in the form of Sports Interactive's Football Manager. If you've never heard of this game, it's a soccer or football management game that sees you take the reins of almost any team in the world that you want, as you try to take them to the top of their respective divisions and create a dynasty of some sorts. Football Manager is really in-depth and rarely leaves anything to be desired on the table. And if you've never tried this and you're a football or soccer fan, I implore you to give it a try. Given the fact that employees of Sports Interactive have left to go and work on F1 Manager, I'll be expecting that same level of detail, and I can't wait for this game. I'm like overjoyed. I can't even express in words how excited I am for this game. More excited than I am even for F1 22. I can't criticize F1 Manager because there's no prior data, but there's been a few things that have been confirmed that won't be in the game, and this is what I'll use to envision what next year's entry should be like. And first up, we have 3 items. First up, the addition of a multiplayer or online system that can accommodate up to 10 managers would be awesome, so you could play through full seasons with your friends. I know they haven't mentioned anything about online, so I doubt there will be any online component in the game. Next up is the ability to create your own team that could be added to the already established grid, just like Codemasters is my team, but more fleshed out, obviously, without the ability to drive the car yourself. And finally, the ability to get new teams added to the grid. In hindsight, Formula 1 probably would not allow this to be put in the game, but can you imagine being able to manage the likes of Porsche, Audi, Andretti Motorsports? That'd be phenomenal. I would love that. But these are all things we have to wait and see if they're the type of developers to listen to the consumer. But from what I've seen recently, with them engaging with fans on Twitter, I expect them to listen to the Formula 1 community. And as excited as I am for this management game, there are a lot of questions, well, namely 2, I would appreciate being answered in the next 2 months while we patiently wait for the game. The first one being, since F1 has a change of engine regulations coming up in 2026, will this be reflected in the game? To give you an example, like when Brexit was happening, this was coded into multiple Football Manager games, and when you get to a period of 2021, you would see a news report that Brexit happened, and So this is how it's going to affect you as a football manager, etc., etc. And the other thing would be, are you able to start your managerial career from F3 or possibly F2? That would be so cool. Just imagine starting off like Corner did with some lower team in F2 or F3 and just working your way up and getting known to the Formula One family and putting your name out there. I think that would be awesome. So with all the information I just provided to you and a sense of what each game has to offer, are you ready to make a decision? Codemasters F122 comes out July 1st for the ripe price of $69.99 for the current gen versions and $59.99 on previous gen and PC. And for those of you ballsy enough to pre-order the Champions Edition, it comes out on June 28th for the ripe price of $80+. While F1 Manager comes out on August 30th for $49.49 for all platforms if you pre-order before August 30th. It'll be $54.99 after, and you'll also gain access to the 5-day beta if you pre-order the game. Hey guys, for those of you who sticked around, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I helped you made an informed decision to purchase whichever game or not to purchase any game. This took me a while to make, and it's essentially my first YouTube video, so any tips and advice you guys have for me would be awesome. You can just leave that in the comments and I'll make sure to read every single one. And I appreciate everyone who watched and likes this video and subscribes to the channel. There's many more fun things to come, and I'm gonna be doing some league racing voiceovers, which I'm really excited about, and a lot more stuff that I'm excited to dive into for YouTube and video editing and all this stuff. It's really new to me, and just be here for the journey, I guess. Anyways, see you guys.